just touch on that, Stu? I mean, like it's done. You have to say that. And listen, I don't condone any, and everyone says this before they get into it. But like the fact that he was abused by a certain faction of and I'm not again don't condone abuse, but it actually has helped his game, and you can't you can't overlook that. If it hadn't happened, if he hadn't got the abuse, it's very unlikely he would have scored 4 goals. And again, not to condone the abuse, but the spotlight was on Johnson for a reason. And we said it many, many times during the last few podcasts before he went on this run, that Johnson was suffering from a little bit of a crisis of confidence. Clearly, the abuse had a knock-on effect of having people wrap their arm around him, the teammates and the fans, fans who are a little more forgiving about the whole thing, a little more compassionate. And that's just the ecosystem of being in a club like this. That would happen at any club, I think, if you've spent 50 million on a player and they can see that you're not performing and yet continue to get opportunities. And now if that happens to Werner, for one, we all know that Werner probably scored 2 of the best 5 goals in the 1920 season for whoever it was in the Bundesliga. Some amazing goals. He's got it in his locker. Now, if he had had that yesterday, would have been, away by half time. I don't think it's a bad thing that he's getting abused. I think he's right. He's getting abused. He's getting great chances to put away, and he needs to put them away. And now, if you put our arm around Werner, great, and he'll go on a streak as well. That's just the way the ecosystem works.
I just think there's a difference between criticism and abuse. I think
I agree
Johnson received was absolute abuse. And I don't think that helped him in any way at all. Criticism can be positive. There can be negative criticism, which spurs you on to greater heights. And potentially there may be an element of that. But I would not want to say, oh, the abuse is worked because now we're seeing the results.
I'm not saying it's a system that we should lean on. I'm just saying it's part of the ecosystem of what it is to be a football club. And you're always going to get fans who are, do stupid shit. Always, the club has to come out and say this is just not, but we're forgetting that like 50 years ago, people used to meet up and have fights in the street as part of, football rivalry. There will always be those people who react so emotionally to people that they call them the worst words under the sun. And every club, I would say that every club has that, so again, I will say that, and it's a serious point, that Johnson has become a much better player since he's had to face that adversity, and and people have had to rally around him. I would say the club becomes stronger as a result.